The child who lived among elders. In the study of human nature, we encounter countless variations of early experience, each of which leaves its imprint upon the child's developing personality. Yet, no childhood is a closed prison. The past influences us, but it does not sentence us. The present and the future are open, shaped by the interpretations and choices we make. Here, I wish to present a case that exemplifies how an environment of misplaced attention and lack of peer companionship can shape a child into timidity and withdrawal, and how the same individual may find liberation through the cultivation of courage, social interest, and genuine cooperation. The case is of a girl who grew up in the shadow of older sisters and elders. Her childhood provides us with fertile ground to see how mistaken beliefs about self and others are formed, and how, if corrected, these beliefs can be transformed into strength. The childhood situation. The girl was born into a family of limited means. Her parents, overwhelmed by the burden of daily survival, could not devote adequate time or resources to her. Instead, the responsibility of her upbringing was largely delegated to her older sisters and to her grandmother. This arrangement meant that from her earliest years, she was immersed in a world of elders. Her daily company was not peers but older individuals, who, though caring in their own way, could not provide her with the kind of companionship and equality that a child naturally craves. As a result, her first attempts at social interaction were marked, not by spontaneous expression but by adjustment to the adult gaze. Each word she spoke was either coaxed out of her, as adults demanded she say something, or dismissed with humor when she hesitated. She never experienced her speech, her play, or her presence as fully welcomed in its own right. Instead, she was treated as a novelty, a little girl on display, who was interesting only when cute or amusing. In this way, the child never discovered the free and easy communication of equals. She never learned the playful give and take with other children. Instead, her experience was one of being a guest in the serious world of adults, uncertain of her place, and timid in her self-expression. Psychological consequences in youth. The immediate result was timidity. The girl came to feel that interaction with others was not effortless but demanded a great exertion. She had to think carefully before speaking, for she feared judgment or ridicule. Where other children engaged with ease, she hesitated. More importantly, when she did encounter children of her own age, she found herself ill-prepared. With them, she lacked the natural means of gaining attention. In her family circle, her little girl status had secured her notice. Among peers, this no longer sufficed. She was not automatically interesting, she had to earn their interest. But without practicing cooperative play, she found herself awkward, unable to attract or sustain connection. Thus, the child retreated further into solitude. She preferred the company of elders, where her role was defined, or the safety of being alone, where no demands were placed upon her. She began to build a private world, turning inward rather than outward, and finding in her imagination a substitute for companionship. Here we see the beginnings of a mistaken style of life. The child concluded, "I am not enough to be loved or welcomed as I am. To be accepted, I must either be little and cute, perform hard to entertain, or remain silent." Such beliefs, formed in the crucible of childhood, became guiding principles of her personality. Manifestations in adulthood. When this girl grew into adulthood, the consequences of her early environment became evident. She entered social situations with a sense of strain. Communication with peers did not flow naturally. She often felt like an outsider, unsure how to win the attention of those around her. Among elders, however, she still found a degree of comfort. She gravitated toward older companions, colleagues, or mentors, where the pattern of her childhood could be repeated. Yet even there, her presence was tinged with deference. She did not experience herself as an equal partner in relationships, but as someone who must justify her place. In friendships and romantic encounters, she struggled to let go of self-consciousness. Every word seemed weighed, every gesture calculated. The effort that had begun in childhood, "I must work hard to be interesting," remained her guiding principle. Such individuals often vacillate between withdrawal and performance. They either avoid social life altogether, finding solace in solitary pursuits, or they attempt to gain acceptance through overcompensation, displaying achievements, cultivating skills, or playing roles designed to attract interest. Yet beneath both patterns lies the same wound, the feeling of being fundamentally inadequate in the eyes of equals. Adlerian interpretation. This case illustrates a key principle of individual psychology. The child's interpretation of experience is more decisive than the experience itself. The objective fact was that the girl was surrounded by elders. But her subjective interpretation was, "I do not know how to belong. My words are not enough. I must make an effort to earn attention." From these beliefs, a lifestyle was formed. Timid, self-conscious, inclined to withdrawal or strained effort in social relations. This is an example of the inferiority feeling at work. Every child begins life small, weak, and dependent. But when the feeling of inferiority becomes exaggerated, when the child believes she can never measure up, it hardens into a guiding attitude that hampers social connection. Moreover, the absence of peers hindered the development of social interest. That innate capacity to cooperate, to contribute, and to feel at home among others. Deprived of practice in equal relationships, the girl's social interest remained stunted. Instead of feeling, "I am one among many, and together we share life," she felt, "I am apart. I must struggle to enter." Yet the Adlerian view is always hopeful. A style of life once formed is not immutable. It can be recognized, understood, and transformed. The path to healing. The solution lies not in blaming the past but in reinterpreting it. The girl must come to see that her timidity and effortful communication are not destiny, but learned patterns. The first task is awareness. She must recognize how her early environment led her to certain mistaken beliefs about herself. She must see that her feeling of being inadequate among peers is not a reflection of reality, but a relic of childhood. The second task is encouragement. This is the core of therapy. She needs to experience, in relationship with a therapist or support of others, that she is already adequate, that her presence is valuable without special performance. Encouragement is not flattery, but the steady affirmation that one belongs. The third task is the deliberate cultivation of social interest. She must practice engaging with equals, not as an ordeal but as a field of cooperation. This may begin in small steps, joining a group, contributing a thought, allowing silence without panic. With each step she learns that she can be part of a whole without strain. Finally, she must replace the guiding fiction of her childhood. "I must earn attention," with a new conviction, "I already belong, and I contribute, as I am." Practical applications. In practical terms, this healing may take many forms. Therapeutic dialogue, in which the mistaken beliefs are brought to light and gently questioned. Group participation, therapy, or activities in groups where she can experience equality and mutual respect. Creative expression, writing, art, or other forms where she communicates freely without judgment. Acts of service, contributing to the welfare of others, which shifts focus from self-consciousness to cooperation. Role rehearsal, practicing conversations with peers, learning that communication does not require perfection. The essence of all these steps is to replace isolation with connection, timidity with courage, and strain with natural belonging. Conclusion. The case of this girl shows us how childhood circumstances, though unintended, can foster feelings of inferiority and inhibit social interest. Yet it also demonstrates the power of reinterpretation and encouragement. Every mistaken style of life contains within it the possibility of growth. The girl who once retreated into timidity may become, through courage and cooperation, a woman who enriches the lives of others. In this transformation, we see the truth of individual psychology, that the goal of life is not to secure attention or superiority, but to contribute, to belong, and to live in the spirit of community.